When I'm reviewing vehicles, I typically judge them based on how good they are at doing their intended jobs, and usually that's enough. But once in a while, a vehicle comes around that really shakes things up to raise the bar. This Hyundai Ioniq 9 is one of those vehicles because it truly goes above and beyond to help create a new benchmark for family SUVs in general, not just ones powered by electrons.
For more expert car reviews, don't forget to share our channel and subscribe so you can catch some of this and maybe even a little of that.
So I am driving the 2026 Hyundai Ioniq 9. This is the preferred all-wheel drive plus with the ultimate calligraphy package on top. So it is the top trim, most fancy Ioniq 9 you can possibly buy. Now this one comes standard with dual motors, which you know will give you all-wheel drive. Total system output is 422 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. Now, you can get a rear-wheel drive base model that has more range and less power and is more affordable, but this one is way faster than anything with 3 rows has a right to be. It accelerates so quickly and so instantly, so you can get up to highway speeds and pass absolutely anyone with so much confidence. Now, technically, that's enough to get you from 0 to 100 kilometers in 5.2 seconds, which is bonkers. So the main reason why I love the Ioniq 9 so much is not because it's super fast, but it's because it has a very sophisticated EV powertrain that I find very, very impressive. So it has that winning combination of having a lot of range, but also being able to charge at ultra fast speeds. So every Ioniq 9 comes standard with about 500 kilometers of range minimum. This one I'm driving is officially rated to get 539 kilometers, but when I picked it up, it was charged up to 98%, and it was showing me that there was 578 kilometers of range on that single charge. That range is incredible. That is way higher than average. And to be honest, that is not too far off from what a gas-powered Hyundai Palisade can offer. So I really love to see it when an electric car doesn't really have any downsides compared to a gas car. Love to see it. Another cool thing about the Ioniq 9 is how easy it is to get killer efficiency. So I took it on a 200 kilometer efficiency run the other day, and I was getting 18.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is way better than its official ratings, and I was barely even trying, and I was doing a lot of highway driving, and EVs are typically not that efficient when driven on the highway. So again, Hyundai nailed it. So for charging speeds, the Ioniq 9 can charge at speeds up to 350 kilowatts, which is the fastest even available right now. So if you were able to find one of those super quick chargers, that's enough to get from 10 to 80% in just about 24 minutes, which is super fast, and that'll be super convenient for road tripping families on the go. Now, this is the first Hyundai to come standard right from the factory with a Tesla-style NACS charging port, which is great because that means it gives you access to certain Tesla superchargers, and we all know their network is great, and this is compatible with plug-in charge to make this experience even more seamless. I love the fact that you can use Tesla superchargers, but I also recommend that you get a CCS adapter to make your charging options even more vast, to make it even more convenient. The other great thing about this platform is that it is capable of vehicle-to-load bi-directional charging. So theoretically, you could use it to power your house to save on electricity costs, or to power your campsite. You can basically use it as a mobile generator. And you do need a special adapter or setup to make that happen. But even if you don't have that adapter, there's a household 3-prong plug in the back that you can use to power pretty much anything, which is going to come in really handy for road trippers or campers. I just love that Hyundai thought about those things to make the experience a lot more convenient for people it's built for, which is road tripping families. In terms of driving dynamics, Hyundai has also nailed that part of the equation too. So typically when I'm driving these big EVs, the steering is all loosey-goosey and you can't feel anything. I was really surprised by how direct and responsive the steering in the Ioniq 9 is. And there is not a ton of feeling, but it's great that it's not so light that you feel absolutely nothing. So that was a huge plus. Besides the massive passing power, I think Hyundai nailed the comfort part of the equation too. So first of all, it is so quiet in here. You can barely hear anything from the outside. This has active noise cancellation, kind of like your headphones or earbuds will. And that just makes the whole thing very serene. And the ride is very comfortable, very smooth. It takes a corner well, it's easy to park, the visibility is great. There's really no red flags, except for one kind of weird thing that I noticed is that if you're driving over a really bumpy road, the back end kind of gets a little bit bouncy like it would in a truck. A minor issue, it wasn't enough to be a deal breaker, but in general, I think the driving experience was great. I feel like besides being fast, it is also very comfortable, and I think the comfort part is a lot more important. And I think we have to address what this Ioniq 9 looks like. So I think people are really divided on the style. And at first I didn't really care for it either, but it is getting a lot of looks wherever I go. And I'm actually okay with it looking the way it does because it's designed to maximize aerodynamic efficiency, which is part of what gives it so much range. And that is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. Hyundai also absolutely nailed it with the practicality part of things too. So I love all the thought that they put into making this SUV work for road tripping busy families. So first of all, this version seats 6, but you can get a version that seats 7. This one has captain's chairs in the back, and they're really cool because they're lounge seats. So they're really comfortable for kids back there. The other thing that makes it really good is that it is so easy to get into the third row. You just push a button, you don't even have to hold it down, and the seats are motorized so they move on their own. It's so easy that a kid could do it on their own. And I thought the third row would be really cramped, but it is surprisingly very roomy back there, even for an adult. And the other great thing is that all the amenities are there. So every single passenger has a fast charging USB-C port, which if you've ever been on a road trip with kids before, you know how important that is. And the other feature I love for road tripping families is that you can turn this vehicle into a Wi-Fi hotspot with a data plan, which means hours and hours of quiet children, no complaining back there. Are we there yet? So I really love that Hyundai put so much effort into this. And you know, there's tons of storage cubbies to store small items for your kids to put their snacks and their toys. There's like 1,000 different cup holders in here. Everything is very well thought out. This compartment opens from both the front and the back, so people in the front and the second row can use it. The other thing I love is that you can fold down the seats, all of them, from the trunk because there's buttons back there. You don't even have to run around the car and do it all. You just press them once. They all fold down, completely flat load floor. So those kinds of practicality features are really thought out and are going to make this SUV very convenient for busy families. In terms of user friendliness, I cannot tell you how happy I am that not everything is centralized in the touchscreen, which is the trend with so many vehicles and EVs these days. I'm so happy that they have physical buttons and there is a touch capacitive section for climate controls, but I'm happy that it's its own section and I don't have to go digging through a touchscreen to use it. Just those things make it so much safer and more user-friendly to use. And in general, the touchscreen is pretty good. You know, it's pretty responsive. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And there's also a wireless phone charger here that is capable of fast charging. Those little details, I love to see it. This top trim model is also packed to the brim full of every single feature you could possibly imagine and stuff that makes it quite unique for its class too. So in this top trim, the front seats and the second row come heated and ventilated, which you never see. But the front seats also have massage and stuff like that. There's a head-up display. I also really love all of the safety features that Hyundai has packed into this. I think they have maybe one of the best blind spot monitoring programs out there. So that it warns you in 3 different ways if there's someone in your blind spot. It shows you in the head-up display, there's an indicator in the side mirrors, and there's a camera view that shows you a live feed from your blind spot. So if someone creeps in on you while in your blind spot and you don't know, you really have no excuse not to see them. The other thing I really love, going back to driving dynamics for a little bit, is that one pedal driving is available and it's very effective. You can also kind of change how aggressive it is using the paddles on the steering wheel. The only thing I don't like is that you have to turn on one pedal driving every time you get into the car, which is kind of annoying, and I wish that if you could just set it and forget it, that would make it a lot more convenient. So in terms of pricing, the rear-wheel drive base model starts at a very reasonable $60K, and that's before destination and taxes and fees. The cheapest all-wheel drive model is about $5,000 more expensive than that, but the top trim one I am driving with this ultimate calligraphy package ends up being about $84,000, and that's including destination and fees, but before taxes. And I know that all cars are expensive these days, but I feel like that top trim pricing really puts it out of reach for a lot of families. So I really wish it wasn't that expensive, but I think in terms of the whole package, Hyundai did a great job. This Ioniq 9 checks a lot of boxes when it comes to EVs and three-row family SUVs in general. So I think they nailed the assignment. I just wish that the pricing was a little bit more competitive. To recap, I love that the Hyundai Ioniq 9 has an overperforming powertrain with great range and efficiency, and its practical, family-friendly interior. I'm not a big fan of how expensive it can get, and I don't love how it looks either. I went on a family cottage road trip last week driving a different vehicle, but all I could think about while I was driving this Hyundai Ioniq 9 is how much easier that trip would have been if I was driving this instead. I just love the fact that it offers so much range, super fast charging, tons of space, and all of the amenities that a family could ever need. And that's exactly why this is going to be a huge hit with road tripping, cottage going families, that is, if they could afford the high price of admission.